Jai Mahamaya ki jai, Vishveshvari Mata ki jai, Bole Baba ki jai. In our last discourse, we learned about Mother Lakshmi being cursed by Vishnu and becoming a mare, a horse on the earth. And she's spending all her time meditating on Shiva for a boon so that Vishnu would come to earth as well. And at the end of that chapter, Lord Shiva says to her that, "O Kamala, you were blinded by prosperity and becoming passionate. You forgot the Divine Mother residing in your heart. Therefore, you have experienced such a result as this. Therefore, to expiate that sin, take her refuge by all means. If your heart remained attached to the highest Devi, the blissful Bhagavati, your heart would never have got attached to that horse." Bole Baba ki jai. So we'll go on now to chapter 19. Vedavyasa said, "O king, thus granting the boon to the goddess Lakshmi, Shiva quickly returned to the lovely Kailash, adorned with apsaras and frequently served by the gods. He then dispatched his expert attendant, Chitrarupa, to Vaikuntha to bring the purpose of Lakshmi to a successful issue. He said to him thus, "Go to Vishnu and speak to him on my behalf that he must go and remove the sorrows of his distressed and bereaved wife and thus make her comfortable." Thus ordered, the messenger started immediately and reached at once Vaikuntha, the highest place covered all over by the Vaishnavas. The place was diversified with lots of various trees, with hundreds of lovely lakes, and echoed with sweet, lovely sounds of swans, peacocks, parrots, cuckoos, and various other birds, and adorned with beautiful places, decked with flags and banners. It was filled with charming dancing, music, and other artistic things. There was the lovely trees there and the beautiful mandara tree that looked beautiful and shed all around the sweet fragrance of its sweet flowers for a long distance. Thus seeing the lovely nice place of Vishnu and the two doorkeepers, Jaya and Vijaya, standing with canes in their hands, the messenger bowed down to them and said, "Please go quickly and inform the Supreme Soul, Vishnu, that a messenger has come under the orders of Bhagavan Shiva and is now waiting at his door." Hearing these words, the intelligent Jaya went to Vishnu with folded hands and said, "O thou ocean of mercy, O Lord of Rama, O Deva the Devas, a messenger has come from the Lord Shiva and is waiting at the doors. I do not know of what important business he has come. Please order whether I bring him before you or not." On hearing the Jaya's word, Vishnu, aware of the inner feelings, knew at once the cause and said, "O Jaya, bring before me the messenger who has been sent by Lord Shiva." Thus hearing, Jaya called Shiva's servant of a graceful form and brought him to the presence of Vishnu. The messenger prostrated himself flat before Vishnu in the form of a stick and stood up and remained with folded hands. The Bhagavan Vishnu, whose carrier is Garuda, saw the servant of Shiva and was full of humility and became very much astonished. The Lord of Vishnu then smiled and asked, "O pure one, is it all well with Lord Shiva, Mahadeva, the Lord of the Devas, and is his other families and attendants all well? On what business has he sent you here? What does he want me to do? Or tell me if I have to do any other business of the gods." The messenger said, "O thou, the knower of all that is within one's heart, there is nothing in this world hidden from your knowledge. When is that which I will say unknown to you? O thou, the knower of present, past, and future, I am now saying to you what Shiva has told me to inform you. He has said, O Lord, the goddess Lakshmi is your dear consort. She, the daughter of the ocean and the bestower of all success, though an object fit to be meditated upon, is now undergoing severe penance at the confluence of the Kalindi, the Yamuna, the daughter of Kalindi, and the Tamasa rivers. What is there in the three worlds that can be happy without the mother of that world and the giver of all desires? O Lotus One, what pleasure do you feel in abandoning her? O all-pervading one, even he who has no riches or who is very weak maintains his wife. Then why have you, being the Lord of the worlds, forsaken your wife without any offense, who is worshipped by the whole universe? O Lord of the worlds, what advice shall I give to you? He whose wife suffers in this world is blamed by his enemies. O omnipresent one, fie on such a life. O Lord of the worlds, your enemies' desires are satisfied when they see her very miserable. They are laughing and mocking and saying, O Devi Lakshmi has now forsaken you. You can speak happily, you can spend happily your time now with us. Therefore, O Lord of the Devas, bring that lady back into your place and place her unto your lap, who is of good demeanor, beautiful, par excellence, and endowed with all the auspicious signs. O Deva, accept please your sweet smiling wife and be happy. Though I am at present not in bereavement of my dear wife, yet when I remember my former state of bereavement, I feel very troubled. O Lotus-eyed one, when Sati Devi, my beloved wife, quitted her body at Daksha's house, I felt unbearable pain. O Vishnu, let no other body in this world suffer such pain. I now remember only the suffering and mental agonies that I felt on her bereavement. I do not give it to others. After a long time practicing severe tapasya, I got her back in the form of Girija, who felt herself burned up, as it were, by the anger she felt on account of censure cast on me in her father's house, and thus quitted her life. O Vishnu, what happiness you have felt in forsaking your dear wife and remaining thus alone for 1,000 years. Console your fortunate young wife with good teeth and bring her back to your place, O Bhagavan. Lastly, the Lord Bhavani, the creatrix of these worlds, told me to speak to you these words. O destroyer of Kamsa, let nobody remain even for a moment without Lakshmi, the highest goddess. O long-lived one, you better assume the form of a horse and go and worship her. Then have a child if you're in the womb of your sweet smiling wife and bring her back to your house. Vedavyasa said, O ornaments of Bharata's race, hearing thus the words of the messenger, Bhagavan Vishnu told him he would do what Shankara had asked him to do, and thus sent the messenger back to Shiva. The messenger, departing, Vishnu assumed the form of a beautiful horse and immediately left Vaikuntha with a passionate intent for the place where Lakshmi was staying in the form of a mare and practicing her austerities. Coming there, he saw the Devi, Lakshmi, was staying in the form of a mare. The mare, too, seeing the horse form of her husband, Vishnu, recognized him and, chaste as she was, remained there with astonishment and tears in her eyes. Then those two came together on that famous confluence. The wife of Vishnu, in the shape of a mare, became pregnant and in due time gave birth to a beautiful, well-qualified child. The Bhagavan then graciously smiled at her and spoke in words suited to the time. O dear, now quit this mare form and assume your former appearance, O lovely-eyed one. Let both of us assume our own forms and go to Vaikuntha, and let your child remain in this place. Lakshmi said, O Lord, how can I go leaving here this child born in my womb? It is very difficult to quit the attachments for one's own child. Know this, O Lord, O high-souled ones, this child is young and of small body, therefore it is quite incapable to protect itself. If I forsake it on the bank of this river, it will be an orphan. What will happen to him then? O lotus-eyed one, my mind is now full of attachment towards it. How can I quit this helpless child and go? When Lakshmi and Vishnu resumed their divine bodies and mounted on the excellent Vimanas, the Devas began to praise them with hymns. When Vishnu expressed his desire to go, Lakshmi said, "O Lord, you better take this child. I am unable to forsake it. O Lord, slayer of the demon Madhu, this child is dearer to me than my life. See, its body resembles exactly like you. Therefore, we would take this child with us to Vaikuntha." Vishnu spoke, "Oh dear, you need not be sorry. Let this child remain here happily. I have arranged for its preservation and safety. O beautiful one, there is a great act to do in this world for him. That will be executed by your child. For this reason, I am leaving him here. I am describing to you the above story. The famous king Yayati had a son named Turvasu. His father kept his name as Harivarna. He is known by this name. That king is now practicing asceticism for getting a son for 100 years in a place of pilgrimage, O Lakshmi. I have begot this son for him. I will go there and send the king here. O beautiful faced one, I will give this son to the king, desirous of an issue. He will take this son and go back to his house." Vedavyasa said, "O king, thus consoling his beloved, whose abode is in the lotus, and placing the child there in that position, he mounted on an excellent car with Lakshmi, and they went to Vaikuntha." Here ends the 19th chapter in the 6th book of the origin of the Hayas, from a mare in the Mahapuranam, Srimad Devi Bhagavatam of 18,000 verses by Maharishi Veda Vyasa. Jai Mahamaya ki jai, Vashveshwari Mata ki jai, Bole Baba ki jai.